Aidan, it's been a funny old season, really, hasn't it, for you? And it's always one for a goalkeeper where if you don't play, there's no chance of you fitting in the team anywhere else. So, from your perspective, just describe what this season's been like for you and how you've dealt with it.
It's been, at the start, it was a bit frustrating, naturally, coming out of the team. But like I said before, you have to support whoever's playing and you have to support the team. It's not just about myself or any of the other lads, it's as a collective. So, yeah, that was frustrating at the start of the season, but I got myself in a good place and supported the team as much as I could.
How do you deal with starting a season and then when another keeper comes in and the manager says to you, look, you're on the bench today? Is that hard to deal with, and how did you deal with that?
It is at the time, but then you look at the bigger picture and you see why maybe you have been dropped, and then you go and work on the things that the gaffer wants you to get better at, and then progressively you get better at those things and you end up getting back in the team.
And conversely then, when you do get that call to say, right, you're in today, how does that make you feel as well?
Good, really good inside, but then you have to focus on the game. You don't want to go into the game thinking like, oh, I'm back in the team, that's it now. Everybody's playing for the shirt, so you have to be on it all the time.
I think people forget as well, you're only 23, aren't you? So you're very young in goalkeeping, to be young in anyway, but as a goalkeeper, you've experienced quite a lot. You've been at a big club in Burnley, you've been released by Mansfield, you've ended up getting promoted as well. Have all those things helped build both your confidence and your ability to deal with the good and the bad side of football?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in a short space of time, there's been a lot of ups and downs. More ups at the moment in my career so far, but yeah, definitely it's been a bit of a whirlwind, shall we say, within those 4 or 5 years since leaving Burnley. So yeah, all of those things really stand you in good stead for your future career.
Do you feel like, though, there's a lot more to come from you and a lot more to build on, though, because as we say, you are only 23, you've already got all that behind you, so that's given you a really good foundation?
Yeah, definitely, there's a lot more to come. Like you said, I'm only 23, so I've got, ideally at least another 12, 13 years where I can really reach the levels that I want to get to. Working with Nashi, he believes in my ability, the gaffer believes in my ability to get to where I want to be as well.
Well, what difference has Carlo Nash made? Obviously, he's a guy who's played at Premier League level and Championship level. What's he done for your game?
He's really broke it down in terms of what he thinks I can really improve on. Really goes into the technical aspect of tiny, minute details that can make the difference on a game day. And that's stuff that we've been working on in training, So we had a good meeting in January about what I want to set targets for to the end of the season. And so far we're reaching those levels that I believe I can reach.
The manager's talked about stats and everything, and earlier on in the season he talked about shots on target and stuff like that. When you see those stats, does that kind of help break it down about what the individual parts of your game that you need to work on?
Of course, yeah. I mean, stats are stats at the end of the day. Sometimes they do speak the truth, but sometimes you have to come away from those stats and look at other things that you've done in the game. Sometimes it is one shot on target and a goal, you might not be able to get to that to make the save. So you've got to look at it in that aspect as well sometimes. So for us, it's about working with Nashi and breaking down those details to enable us to make those match-defining saves.
I know we've already said it at length now, but you're only 23, but you sound very mature for someone who's 23. Has that been a big part of this year as well? Have you matured even more as a goalkeeper, not just in your ability, but also in your attitude to games and how you are as a footballer?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's quite funny actually. Becoming a dad, you instantly mature anyway. At such a young age, and that was always something that I wanted to become. So I think that's helped me off the pitch as much as it has on the pitch. I feel that responsibility too when we're out on the pitch, be a leader with my communication skills and stuff like that. So that's definitely helped.
The manager has never just picked the same team every week depending on it, but is it when he's looking at the summer and he might go out and get another number one, are you prepared for that challenge? Are you thinking, well, there might be another maybe more experienced keeper who comes through the door, and are you mentally kind of prepared for all that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all my career so far, I've always had more experienced goalkeepers than me at the club I've been at, and so far I've managed to do well and get quite a bit of game time. So for me, it's a case of these last 8 games trying to prove to the staff, including the gaffer, that I'm here to be that number one for next season, and that's my goal really.
That determination, does that kind of really help that? Because it'd be easy, as we say, for a keeper, because you can't play anywhere else on the pitch. It can be easy to go into your shell a bit. Have you got to be a bit more bullish about it and say, look, I want to be the number one and I'm capable?
Yeah, definitely. I think you have to have that aura about you, that you've got to have that confidence as well. Because if you don't have that confidence, then the club are going to go out there and look for others. So for me, it's all about, like I said, building on these last 8 games, heading into next season, and hopefully having a positive last 8 games.
And obviously, it's all about building relationships with the back four as well, and that's part and parcel of your remit, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's chopped and changed with the games that I've played, but I've got a good understanding with the lads. We all get on really well off the pitch, and that only takes it onto the pitch as well.
And they talk about the goalkeepers union. You'll know more about that probably than us in many ways, in a lot of aspects. You've got to have that camaraderie with maybe your number 2 or the number 2 at this moment with Jack, haven't you? You've got to build that type of relationships as well, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think me and Jack get on really well off the pitch as well, so that always helps, and we're always pushing each other in training. And if one of us takes a step off it, then that you find yourself out of the team like that. So I think for us, having that really good working relationship as well, that can only make us both better.
Going to the game this weekend, and obviously you'd want a good run in, and particularly at the home, you want to start building the momentum again now, don't you, against a side really that are fighting for their lives, Cambridge?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, you're right. They are fighting for their lives, but it's not going to be an easy game. For them, it's probably more cup finals now. So for us, it's about maintaining the standards that we've set over the last 5-6 games, putting those performance levels in, and hopefully the result takes care of itself.
Thank you.
Hey, just tell us a bit about the research that you put in before going to a game, because obviously you read the penalty right on Saturday. It's not the first time you've done that. So just give us an idea of the sort of homework that goes into that.
So we have a WhatsApp group, and we sit down with the analysts, Callum and MJ, and they normally send over quite a lot of the clips from the forwards and the attackers that we'll face on a weekend, what type of shots they'll take. And then with the penalties, we always have a sheet of where the penalty takers are likely to go. It might not always go that way, but we try and nitpick and look for tiny, minute details on run-ups, which way they go, that sort of thing.
So it's not just penalties then, it's all sorts of shots?
All sorts of shots that we might face. So for us, that's even better because we know more about what we're going to face on a weekend. But definitely for the penalties, I think me and Ashley had a good 20-minute conversation last Saturday about possibly where Bishop might go before the game, and we looked at literally every tiny detail. Luckily, for the first one, it was right, and then it was just unfortunate with the second one. I was a bit disappointed at the time, but at least I made the first one.